Hey guys, and thank you so much for joining. And I really do apologize for delaying this. I know I've scheduled it for 9 o'clock and then rescheduled again for half nine. So I'm 10 minutes earlier. I actually forgot to open the things that I wanted to show you. So it took me a bit longer so I can find them again. And yeah, welcome. I guess that tonight we will be talking about the latest in terms of Christian Brueckner and his trial. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that his trial ended yesterday. Is today Friday? Yeah, yesterday, I think. Yes, there was a verdict in his trial. And also, I just discovered yesterday that he actually sent some letters to the media, to Daily Mail in particular, I think. And let's see if we can read some of the things that he said in the letters. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes so you can show up. I know I'm a bit late or early, or however you want to take it. So have you guys been following the Brueckner trial, as in updates and stuff? Oh, I think I'm gonna need my glasses. Okay, yeah, that's better now. So the first article that I'm going to be reading and keeping it on your screen will be one from Daily Mail. And I think that I'm ready to show that to you and to start reading. Let's see. Okay, this is it. I'll make it a bit bigger. So this is from Daily Mail, Mail Online, and this was published on the 8th of October. So the day before yesterday, was it? No, it was actually on Tuesday. Yeah, 8th of October. Okay, so the title here says Madeleine McCann suspect Christian Brueckner is found not guilty in SEX crimes trial. So he was found not guilty. What is interesting to me, and what was interesting to me when I read this article the first time, was what the judge actually said. So that's why I really wanted to go through these articles with you, because there are some comments from the judge which were surprising, but not in a bad sense, but rather, positively surprising. Right. So the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann was today found not guilty on separate XEX crime charges, meaning that he could be released from prison as early as next year. Can you still see properly? Because I changed my screen. Yeah. Okay. Christian Brueckner, 47 years old, was sensationally named as the prime suspect in the 2007 disappearance of Madeleine in June 2020 by German police, but no charges relating to the case have been brought. He was, however, accused of 3 attacks and 2 child sex attacks cases between 2000 and 2017 in Portugal, close to the Algarve resort of Praia da Luz, from where Madeleine vanished while on holiday with parents Kate and Jerry. In his closing remarks at the courthouse in Brunswick yesterday, Bruckner's main lawyer, Frederick Fulcher, hinted that the convicted attacker and PDF Bruckner was only on trial because of his link with Madeleine's internationally recognized case. So, as you can tell from even what the lawyer is saying, that because of how he was portrayed in the media and him being connected to the Madeleine McCann disappearance all over the world, obviously the views around him are going to be affected by this, right? And we all knew that, because it's impossible for people not to change their opinion of someone if they constantly hear only negative things about them in the media. So prosecutors in the trial, they called for a 15-year sentence, but the court concurred with Fulcher's argument, and Judge Ut Engman this morning acquitted his client of all charges. Brueckner showed no emotion as the verdict was delivered. The ruling could have devastating consequences for German prosecutors who want to pin Madeleine's disappearance on him, and they immediately lodged an appeal against the not guilty verdict. So they already launched an appeal. It's interesting the choice of words that is used here in this article from DailMail, considering this is from the UK, right? For German prosecutors who want to pin Madeleine's disappearance on him, is as if they are agreeing with the lawyer that the German police, indeed, they want to pin this on Brueckner, rather than proving that he did it, but more so that they want to pin it on him. Moving on. On delivering the ruling, Judge Engman made a lengthy statement explaining why Brueckner was acquitted and slammed German prosecutors for naming him in relation to the Madeleine McCann saga. And this is a quote from the judge. "We as judges have sworn an oath, and it is to serve the truth only. We take this very seriously, but we cannot wrap people in cotton wool. This oath means that we don't have to cater to the views of the media, the defense and the prosecution, or the table of regulars in a pub." Everyone had heard about Brueckner in the Maddie McCann case, and they all knew that Brueckner, since 2020, was always named by the Public Prosecution Office. When in the media, a person is here described as a sex monster and a pervert, then it influences the witness. When massive third-party suggestions are made in this way, then the testimonies in court are almost worthless for the legal chamber. And this is, I think, our general view that we had around Christian Brueckner in a nutshell, what this judge was saying. It's impossible for any kind of witness to be reliable when Christian Brueckner was from the beginning linked to the Madeleine McCann disappearance, even though there was no evidence. And the German police and the German prosecutors, they were so vocal around this on social media and on media and in the media and all over the place, that it was just impossible for anybody to be unbiased around Christian Brueckner's guilt. And it's pleasantly surprising that the judge actually recognized this, and she even said that because of how Christian Brueckner was seen in the media, any kind of witness was proved worthless from the prosecution side. And I guess that whatever the German police were trying to do, they actually made their case even worse, or rather the prosecution's case even worse, because they just discredited their own witnesses themselves with this. So let's carry on here. On Monday, after closing speeches, Brueckner declined to speak, but he has protested his innocence in a series of extraordinary letters to Mail Online. And we will get to those letters in a bit. Let me see, is there anything else to this article? Yeah, there is a bit more. Ahead of the decision, prosecutor Hans Christian Walters had told Mail Online that he would be making an announcement on their next steps in the McCann investigation, but he refused to expand. Quote, "We consider the judgment to be wrong in substance and will therefore appeal so that the Federal Court of Justice will review the decision again for legal errors," end quote. Walters said as soon as the verdict was delivered. Hi there, and thank you for joining. I do apologize, but I'm not able to read your username. And you are saying, "Good evening, Kat. I've been watching a few of your videos and find them very interesting. Let's get justice for that poor angel Madeline." Hi, it's the first time I'm seeing you commenting, and thank you for being here and for being interested. And yes, hopefully we can get some justice for Madeline. Okay, let me carry on if I didn't forget where I was. Yes, about the appeal. Yeah, so they are planning to appeal to the Federal Court of Justice of Germany. And then we carry on here with Brueckner is currently serving an attack sentence that runs until September 2025, according to Walters, although Fulcher has said that the defendant could be free as soon as the spring. So Fulcher is his lawyer. And from another article that I've read, they are planning to appeal his previous sentence. So we already know that Madeline, she went missing when she was 3 years old from the holiday apartment in Praia da Luz in Portugal in May 2007. So despite a huge international manhunt and global media attention, no trace of her has been found, but investigations are continuing in the Maddie case, prosecutor Walters has declared. Again, I'm going to say about this investigation, and I'm going to add quote unquote investigation because I'm not even sure that they can call it an investigation when she didn't go missing in Germany, but she rather went missing in Portugal. So I'm not sure how exactly it can work. How can they open their own investigation? I'm not sure what legally what they are able to do or what they can do in terms of a different force from the police force where she went missing from. So he carries on saying that at present, I am unable to say when we will be able to conclude these investigations and with what result. The charges of which Brueckner was acquitted today came about as a result of investigations into the Maddie case, according to prosecutors. In one of the cases, prosecutors accused him of entering the holiday apartment of a woman aged between 70 and 80, tying her up and beating and SAing her. In another case, he had been accused of entering a young Irish woman's apartment via her balcony while she was sleeping, threatening her with a knife and attacking her in that way several times. He had also been accused of exposing himself in front of a 10-year-old German girl on a beach and to an 11-year-old Portuguese girl at a playground. But the defense raised serious doubts about the cases against Brueckner, which were based on testimonies but no forensic evidence. Irish tour guide Hazel Behan earlier in the trial gave a harrowing account of her ordeal allegedly at Brueckner's hands on the Algarve. 40-year-old Miss Hazel, who waived her anonymity, said that she had returned to her flat in Praia da Roche in Portugal in June 2004 after a row with her then boyfriend when she was just 20 years old. Appearing in court last May, she described how she got into bed fully clothed and then she fell asleep only to wake moments later when she heard her name being called. She said, "I thought it was my boyfriend who had come to apologize. After a short space of time, I said to myself in my head, he doesn't have a key, so how did he get in? I had such a fear which I have never experienced, and it felt as if all the blood in my body went to my feet. I turned and saw a man fully dressed in black from head to toe with a knife, and the first thing he did was put his knee into my back and a hand over my mouth. He pulled my head and said in English, "Don't effing scream or I will kill you." So that's why I didn't. It was all very quick. He pulled my head back and said in English, "Don't look at me." And then I smelled a fruity smell. I knew it was condoms, so I knew it was going to happen. She added, so she's from Ireland, and she added, "I have had 3 children, but I have never felt a pain like that, and I felt it would last forever." But Mr. Fulcher said in his closing speech that his client was innocent of the attack. Hazel was attacked in the most brutal way. I have already pointed out that the defense has no doubts about this. Mr. Fulcher said, "Only one question is important here and now. Can it be established beyond doubt that the defendant was the one who committed the offense?" At the end of this hearing, the answer to me is clearly no. So, if you look, I'm not trying to discredit here any kind of genuine victim of those kind of attacks and assaults, but if you take a look at what this witness is saying or the victim is saying, there are some things which I found that they don't quite make sense. Now, again, I'm not saying that she's not telling the truth. I'm not trying to discredit her in any way. I'm not saying that it didn't happen to her. What I'm saying is that I'm not quite sure it was Bruckner. You know why I'm saying this is because of the way that she's describing the attack. So she says that, let me find it again. So I turned and saw a man fully dressed in black from head to toe with a knife, and the first thing he did was put his knee into my back and a hand over my mouth. So, if you are trying to picture this, it kind of means that if he put his knee on her back, that means that he was behind her somehow, right? So she couldn't exactly see him. And then he put his hand over her mouth so she doesn't scream. Again, probably she couldn't see him since his knee was on her back. Then he pulled my head and said in English, "Don't effing scream or I will kill you." So that's why I didn't. It was all very quick. He pulled my head back and said in English, "Don't look at me." And then I smelled a fruity smell. So this is what she saw. This is basically what she saw. So obviously you can't really point the finger at Bruckner when that's all that she saw. That's why I'm saying that, like his lawyer was saying, there is not enough evidence to point that it was him who attacked her because she didn't see him. So yeah, that's what I wanted to point out from her account. Okay, let me carry on with this here, starting from here. Last week, prosecutor Ut Lindman argued Bruckner should be jailed for 15 years, labeling him a sadistic psychopath. But in July, the prosecution was dealt a significant blow after the current trial judge ruled that evidence against him in the current trial was insufficient. Illustrating his argument that Bruckner was innocent, Mr. Fulcher highlighted how Mrs. Hazel Behan said her attacker was left-handed when Bruckner is the opposite, and although she said her attacker had a German accent, this was purely circumstantial. He pointed out how her description of the height of her attacker was way off the mark. He also highlighted how his client had no abnormalities on his leg, despite her saying that the man who attacked her had a scar, a birthmark, or tattoo on his upper thigh. Notebooks seized from Bruckner detailing his sexual fantasies were used as evidence, but despite their disturbing content, they provided no direct link to the alleged crimes. So here we find out even more from his lawyer about the victim's account. The abnormalities on the leg, which her attacker had, the scar, the birthmark, or the tattoo, which Brueckner didn't have. So again, the defense was also critical of the German police's investigation of the case, describing it as one sided, and he had been left shocked by it. He said, "We have heard BKA officers or the German police openly admit that they did not question witnesses critically so that no contradictions would arise. This is simply scandalous and casts a very bad light on the federal authorities, especially as the BKA is highly trusted in terms of competence by the judiciary and the general public." During the trial, Bruckner's former cellmate, Laurentiu Codin, remember we spoke about Laurentiu Codin in our previous video, where he said that Christian Bruckner confessed to him whilst they were jailmates. So he told the court that he had confessed to him that he once abducted a child in Portugal. He told the hearing he was looking for money. He said he didn't find any money but found a kid and took the child. He said that 2 hours later there were police and dogs all over the place, so he then went away out of the area. He said that he took the child in Portugal in his car, and in the time when the police and dogs were at the house, he drove away and he was gone. He asked me if the DNA from a child can be taken from bones under the ground. Also, key to the case and that of Madeline's disappearance were two super witnesses, Helgi Busching and Manfred Seyfarth, former partners in crime with Bruckner. They claim to have found a video in Bruckner's home in Portugal showing him masked and attacking two women. But the clip has never been discovered, and defense lawyers questioned its existence. That Helgi also claimed that Bruckner told him at a festival in Spain a year after Madeline went missing that it was strange she didn't scream, which investigators also claim is vital to the case. Met officer Mark Draycott testified to the court in May how Buschwing had contacted them and he had been quizzed in great secrecy in Athens about his claims after he was released from a Greek prison for people trafficking. But Mr. Fulcher portrayed Busching and Seifert as unbelievable witnesses and said their sole aim was to put Bruckner in prison, describing their evidence as lies. Buschwing and Seifert had also both testified in the 2019 trial, which sent Bruckner to jail, but Mr. Fulcher said their testimony was now full of contradictions. He pointed out how witnesses they had said had seen the attack video, denied having ever set eyes on it, and Mr. Fulcher said Buschwing's aim was solely to profit from the multi-million reward in the Madeline case. So this is the article about Bruckner's not guilty verdict, which kind of most of us expected is going to happen. But there is another piece of information about his conviction that he's still serving time for, and this came as an update as well. But first, we finish with this article. So, Christian Bruckner not guilty, and acquitted not guilty. And as you heard from this article, the judge recognized all the influence that the media had and the public and everything that was said about him in the media, and basically that the prosecution and the investigators acted unprofessionally in this case because they just kept him in the media all the time. They kept on talking about him in connection to Madeleine McCann case, and like we said and we believed was just to kind of put him in a bad light because of the trial, but it didn't work for them. And I'm hoping that they won't be able to go any further when they appeal. But I'm guessing that if they don't bring anything new for the appeal, I don't think that they will go any further. I don't think that the appeal will be accepted in any way. Right, guys. So this was the first article. And now let me see what else I've got for you. We will be getting to the article about Bruckner's appeal in terms of the conviction that he's still in prison from, that he's still serving time for. So let me put that up on the screen. This article is from GB News, and it's titled Madeleine McCann Suspect Set to Push for £200,000 in Compensation as Lawyers Eye Up Appeal. I know that GB News is not a very reliable source of information, but I found this compensation, the plan to claim compensation in different articles. So it's something which I'm thinking they want to do, they are looking to do. So this article was published on 10th of October, which was yesterday. So again, the main suspect in the Madeleine McCann case, they keep going with this. So he said to push for £200,000 in compensation after he was released after being found not guilty in unrelated sex crime charges. He could be released as early as next year, as his legal team also plans to appeal a separate conviction which is keeping him behind bars. He was publicly identified by German authorities in June 2020 as the prime suspect in Maddie's case, though no formal charges have been brought against him. Prosecutors for Madeleine have said that they have evidence against him, though they have said the clock is ticking to bring the charges forward. He was cleared of 2 charges of attack and 2 of SA. However, he still has 1 year left to serve in jail for a 7-year sentence for sex attack in a different case where he attacked a 72-year-old American woman in the Algarve in 2019. He is currently scheduled to be released in September 2025, though this could be earlier if an appeal is upheld. A court source told The Sun, Bruckner's lawyer said in court he did not believe the 2019 conviction was safe and could be challenged after a witness was discredited. Appeals aren't quick, but there is a chance he is released sooner. He would also have a clear path to try for compensation. So, as we already know, that the accusations against him between 2000 and 2017, all of them which happened in Portugal near Praia da Luz resort. And Bruckner's main lawyer, Frederick Fulcher, suggested in his closing remarks yesterday that he should be cleared due to a lack of evidence and that the convicted attacker was only on trial because of his connection with McCann's internationally recognized case. The court agreed with Fulcher's argument and found his client not guilty on all charges. Bruckner's lawyers have said that his trial faced worldwide prejudice following constant allegations he took Madeleine in 2007. And of course, Bruckner denies involvement in the McCann case and has never been charged. So this is basically the other article. I only wanted to show you this article because of the 200,000 pounds compensation that they want to claim, and also his other conviction that his lawyers are planning to appeal because of the witness which was discredited, so they could have a chance of appeal. And I forgot to show you the article on the screen, didn't I? Okay, this is the one. Not this one. I'm gonna pause that. So this is the article basically, and I apologize for all these ads. This is the article I was reading from. And let me catch up with the comments. Hey, Jigsy Wigsy, thank you for joining. Hey, Susie. Susie saying this with Christian Brueckner has gone on for years with no outcome. Well, that's no. Oh my God, I can't speak. I can't read. Well, there's no surprise. He's not a nice character by any means, but they have nothing to link him with Madeleine McCann. Little Madeleine deserves better. Yeah, of course. I said this before as well. It's not like he's the best person. He's a criminal for all intents and purposes. He's done bad things, but there is absolutely nothing to link him to Madeleine McCann's disappearance. And even those allegations against him, you can clearly see he's been acquitted, not guilty, found not guilty on all charges. There wasn't enough evidence to convict him. So the only one that he's in prison for is the attack on the 72-year-old American woman, for which even his lawyer said that they are looking to appeal that because one of the witnesses used in the trial was discredited in this trial. So it could be that he will be cleared and get out early. And if he gets out early, then there is a basis for compensation as well. And I've read in a different article that for each day a German prisoner spends in jail, they would get compensation of around 40 pounds, more or less, something like that. So yeah, and I've got the last article which I want to show you today. Yes, the letters, right? The letters that Christian Brueckner sent to DailMail. I accidentally came across these letters when I was looking into the verdict. I had no idea that he actually sent letters. Right, okay. Let me see if I can put that on the screen, that article, which is the last article, which I'm going to read from today. Oh, come on, you. Right, okay. Here we are. This time it's going to your screens right now. This is the one. This is another one from DailMail, because obviously the letters were sent to DailMail. So this is from Mail Online, and the title says how Madeleine McCann suspect Christian Brueckner has protested his innocence in series of sinister letters and drawings sent from jail as he's cleared in SEX crimes trial. And this was published on the 8th of October 2024. So let's see. Brueckner has been protesting his innocence in a series of letters to Mail Online ever since he was linked to her disappearance. In the first 5-page letter written from Oldenburg jail, where he was sent after being convicted of attacking in 2019 and given 7 years, he mocked authorities for suggesting that he was responsible. German authorities named him in June 2020 as the man behind the 2007 abduction and murder of Madeleine when she was just 3, but since then no charges have followed. The neat letters give a fascinating insight into convicted attacker Bruckner's mind and clearly show his obsession with trying to persuade the authorities and the public via the media that he is innocent of involvement in Madeleine's abduction. He wrote, quote, "Welcome to the biggest adventure you can imagine. I'm the most known bad person in the world, and I did nothing. Well, almost nothing. I wasn't kidnapping anybody, and of course, I wasn't killing anybody. I will go further. I'll tell you, I wasn't attacking anybody after I was 18. I made some silly mistakes when I was younger, but who hasn't? Then, referring to the Madeline case, he said, perhaps I was a suspect after all they found out about me. Drug dealer, breaking into houses, living in cars, and there was something with kids when I was 17. But they had not even one proof that I was involved with the McCann case, and they still don't have it. I know why. Because they have no hairs or anything from Maddie, what means that nobody can put stuff, anything like that, into my stuff to find it. And I think he refers here that to plant it on his stuff so that he's the scapegoat. The idea behind that all was perhaps to make the BKA, the German police, and the German prosecutor famous as well, as known all over the world as the smartest organization ever. There you go. Let's see. Hi, Red Eye. Thank you for joining. Let's see what Red Eye is saying here. Crime Night has brought some new things to the table. 2 extra beds in the Payne's apartment points to premeditation. I haven't heard of this. But is there any evidence that there were actually 2 extra beds in there? So you see, Bruckner's opinion is that the reason why they kept on trying to pin Madeleine McCann's disappearance on him is because the German police and also the prosecutors, they were looking to be famous. They're looking to get famous, and indeed, if this was the truth, or if this would be the truth, then they kind of accomplished that, right? Because they've been in the media for all these years. Now everybody who know who knows about Madeleine McCann, they know also about the German police and the prosecutors. So this was kind of an accomplished point, if this is what they were indeed looking for. So I think that in the letter, Bruckner is kind of right, isn't it? There was something else which I wanted to comment on. Oh yeah, here right at the beginning. I'm the most known bad person in the world, and I did nothing. Well, almost nothing. So he already knows that he's known all over the world for bad things that he's done. He also added, the German authorities, have manipulated the truth in such an unprofessional way that I am laughing. I still have not lost my sense of humor, even in this critical situation. This is what keeps me alive. So, whoever wrote this article, or should I say, maybe people are claiming that he's doing this to taunt the police with the letters or anything like that. I don't really see like that. I kind of see more like him being sarcastic, you know. And also, it's very hard to stay unbiased when you form an opinion of somebody after everything that you've seen and read in the media, including psychologists, psychiatrists, any kind of person. It's hard to keep it's hard to keep yourself unbiased. But anyway, let's move on. The pencil-written letters sent to Mail Online are noticeable by Bruckner's distinctive neat and tiny writing, which one graphologist said showed that he was distorted and deluded. I don't know where this graphologist took this from. I have no idea. But by the way, this is one of the pencil drawings that he sent to Daily Mail. And the caption here says, in one of his letters from jail in Germany, where he's serving a sentence for attacking an elderly lady, he does a pencil sketch of the long, dark corridor of a prison wing, perhaps the isolation wing where he's being held at Oldenburg jail. Handwriting expert Tracy Russell added that they also showed his fantastical views were constant and unchanging. She said his letters indicated someone who wanted to command and control, and she added the long extended end stroke on the reclining letter S is symbolic of someone who suffers with feelings of guilt. Again, I'm saying for anybody, even a professional graphologist or someone else, such as handwriting expert, is kind of hard to make an opinion which is not biased in a way or another, because you already know a lot of things from the media about the person, and then to assess something of theirs, it's very hard to set aside what you already know from the media. So I wouldn't trust any kind of expert with their opinion, simply because you can't really trust it when there are a lot of things over the years being said in the media. So she went on anyway. In some cases, this symbol is seen where a violent death has taken place close to the writer and they are trying to come to terms with it. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, you guys, what do you think? Whatever the truth, there is a need to continually feed his ego, and his ultimate aim is to get some sort of recognition before concluding that he was on a short fuse. Or maybe, if you look at the other side, maybe he's he's trying to say that he's not guilty to the media rather than just continually feeding his ego, because I'm sure that if a person didn't do something and they are in prison and constantly they are being accused publicly of doing something that they know they didn't, they will somehow try to get vocal about it and try to get people to understand that they didn't do it. Another letter in almost word-perfect English sent to Mail Online included a drawing of Daisy with petals being picked off and the words guilty and not guilty surrounding it. In a clear campaign to clear his name, Brueckner wrote ahead of his current trial, "You can never imagine how it is when the whole world believes you are a child murderer and you are not." Then he brags. Interesting choice of words from the person writing this article. So apparently he brags, "I got told a long time ago that the prosecutor's office was closing the Maddie case because there is not even the smallest evidence. There will never be a trial. The prosecutors are not saying anything to the public because they must give the files to my lawyers and they contain many material which confirms my innocence." Brueckner, who describes the investigation as a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, added, "The police and prosecutors are trying to create a monster to divert the people and let them think I am the right one." The investigators, will never understand that the idea they had was brilliant. I said already that Hollywood couldn't do better, but they choose the wrong leading actor, me. I'm almost sure that some other persons in my situation, under all the pressure, the insults, and the threatenings, would have capitulated a long time ago. They would have asked where they can sign the death judgment, but not me. I'm tough as old boots. So you see, what he is saying is what so many of us have said over the years. Yeah. Brueckner again complaining that he's being made a scapegoat in both the Madeleine investigation and his current trial, added, the responsibilities are not strong enough to admit the mistakes they made in the Maddie case. So they try despairingly to accuse me of other weird stuff. It doesn't matter that I have a completely different look, like the victims are saying. I really would like to know what they tell them to convince them that it was me nevertheless. Closing the letter, Bruckner said, I'm writing this without self pity, and my self confidence and self control was never at a higher level. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Chin up, better days are coming. And this is all from his letter. So, this is one of the drawings that he sent, and there is the other drawing of the daisy. This is the other drawing that he sent. And as the article was saying, that he's mocking them. I kind of, when I first saw this daisy, I thought it was funny, really. It's like some kid playing love me not. You remember that game? Love me not. Is there anything? Oh, hold on. So these are the letters. You won't be able to understand what it says on them because it's not clear at all. But just so you can see, this is one of the letters. And here is the rest of it, I believe. Oh, I can see that it says here, please confirm my last two letters. Not sure. So yeah, that's basically it. I think that now the next step is for us to wait on the appeal, I suppose. Or the appeals, rather. One appeal from the prosecutions for the not guilty verdict, and the other appeal from Bruckner and the lawyers. So then the question remains, if he's released and he's declared not guilty on everything, including on the Madeleine McCann case, then who is going to be next? Because somebody needs to be next so that they can keep the funding going. Remember the funding. So if he's released, so if Bruckner is released in March, as they expect him to be released, if his appeal is successful, then considering the timeline from our previous video of the funding requests and the funds given, it would be around the same time in March that they would get more funding, I believe. Yeah, somewhere around that time, isn't it? Hi, Miss Jansky. Hi, Emily. Let's see what Emily is saying. I imagine if Christian Bruno was guilty, he would give up the location of where the child's body was placed. I think the McCanns had helped to hide the body. There is someone who wants to keep their secret. Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. And I think a lot of us agree with you on that. So what did you guys expect the verdict to be for Bruckner? So see, perhaps in a way it was better that there wasn't a jury, but only the panel of judges deciding. Emily saying not guilty. Yeah, I was kind of a bit in between here because I was thinking that not guilty, if they would, if the verdict would be not guilty, then what will be the next steps in terms of Madeleine McCann and Kate and Jerry's alleged involvement and the scapegoat? So who would the scapegoat be then? But if you think legally, there was never evidence enough to convict him. This was a short live tonight, wasn't it? But unless you guys have any kind of questions or any comments, I'm going to end the live. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining. You guys take care, stay safe, and have a great weekend. And I shall see you in the next one. Ms. Jansky is saying if they had anything on Brueckner, he'd have been charged by now. Yes, I agree with you. And I think a lot of us agree. But the prosecutors, or rather the German police, they keep on trying to drag it somehow for some reason. Okay, guys, bye.